right.
Welcome to another episode of the Bakari Sellers podcast. Today I have someone who it feels like we've known for a very, very long period of time. We grew up with her. We love her. We adore her. Kyla Pratt. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. We start each one of our episodes kind of unique on the show because we have our guests walk us through the arc of their career. And I'm always fascinated by actors or actresses who got their starts as children. And I think if my research is correct, you got into acting at age 7 or 8 years old. How did that happen? And what age were you when you decided to stay in acting? And what was that moment for you?
Yes, I did start at around 7, 8 years old. I grew up watching my mom. My mom was and is an actress. And I actually, by chance, my grandmother was on a plane showing pictures of her grandkids, bragging to complete total strangers. And a woman who ran a modeling show asked if I wanted to be in the modeling show. And I said, yeah, I want to be like my mom. Like, that'd be cool. And my first modeling show, there was a panel of agents and managers, and I signed with a pair of agent and managers that day. And I was with them for about 20 years.
That's kind of fortuitous. Grandma's love got you a career, not just a job.
You know what I mean? And I really just started off wanting to be like my mom, and then I fell in love with it. And I decided to stick with it literally when I started. I've never really wanted to do anything else. I know sometimes people ask me, what would you do if you weren't in entertainment? And I'm like, probably a lawyer, because I'm really good at arguing. I really I like to win. I like to get my point across. I like to
you like to win. You like to win arguments. That doesn't mean
I
would find
a way to win an argument.
It's like you sound like my wife right about now. She just skipped the whole lawyering part, just like to win arguments.
I also know that I'm also always very interested in making sure that, we know the laws, and we know a lot of things that we honestly don't have access to and really know about ourselves. And I've dealt with the justice system a little bit in my life. And so I would prefer to help people to not have to deal with the same type of issues. But that amount of school, I don't know if I'm able to do that at this time.
Oh man, we waiting on you to get your law degree. Let me know. I'm helping you. I'm gonna help you study for the bar exam. You just let me know when you're ready.
One day we shall see. I don't limit myself. Anything is possible. That's
true. A related question for you is, how are you able to manage a successful evolution from child star to adult star? Because I think it's probably more of a misconception than anything that not every child star, you hear about many child stars who have trouble adjusting. How have you been able to manage your evolution from child star to teen star and now adult star, and not have many of the, I guess, misconceived pitfalls that many of your other colleagues have had?
It's hard all the time, even seeing different people that I used to work with as a child go through so many things, trying to go from a child actor, entertainer, and bring it into their adulthood, because it's not an easy thing. The world is crazy in general. And when you're in a business like this, you are, things are brought to you at such an early age. I think that I've always had a very balanced childhood. I wasn't really focused on, people need to see me, or how many people are watching this. It was more like, it was fun for me. I wasn't forced to have this career. I was given a choice. I also know that my family never, put me on a pedestal. It was always like, oh, that's Kyla, or my mom is like, you better clean your room, like I was treated like I'm one of the kids, and so it wasn't hard to stay humble in that energy of, what you do is just an amazing job, I just always had a very good support system. I've always had a great family that has my back. I've always had really great intuition about who I allow to be around me, energy-wise, and what people really want, So yeah, and I'm also, people who don't know me, they don't understand. I got my little gangster side that people.
Oh, I heard that come out your voice just a minute ago.
It's so funny because I meet people and they're like, oh, Penny Proud. And I'm like, hi, how you doing? And then once they get to know me, they're like, oh, okay. So I think that's helped me a lot with having different people that try to come around, because a lot of the times it's who you allow to be around you and suck your energy, and take all that from you. So I've been very fortunate to keep my mind together with, now going into, adulthood in this industry. And because there was a time where I wasn't working and I was like, how is this going to work? Like, what age do I play? Like, I look so young, but
you can still, you're a grown woman that can play a teenager.
And I've come to the point where I accept it. It is what it is. You have great longevity in this business when you're able to play, different ages. So I accept it. It is what it is. And it's not a bad thing to look young,
No, but you are an OG in the game. How has the industry changed since Dr. Dolittle? Like, how has it changed since then in terms of the pressure? And the reason I ask you is because one of the more dynamic parts about your life is motherhood. And would you allow your children to go into the same industry that you're in?
The industry has changed a lot. I think the main part of it, I would say, would be like the whole social media part of everything.
You would have been different with an IG and TikTok back in the day. I don't know.
I would have, but I'm kind of glad that was not my life.
Me too.
To me, that's a whole other enemy to deal. Like, I can't imagine, even as an adult, social media is hard to deal with sometimes. And I'm constantly reminding people, like, nobody is perfect, no matter what they're just posting. You have a lot of people out there who I feel like call themselves actresses. And I'm like, oh, okay.
They act for 30 seconds at a time. They're called Instagram Reels. Okay.
Okay. There's a lot of talented people out there, but now you're dealing with a time where it's like, oh, if you have a lot of social media followers, they'll hire you for a job before focusing on the actual project and how it's going to come out. So that's a big difference than back in the day. But I would say my oldest daughter has done a couple of commercials. My youngest just told me that she wanted to start. And when they were first born, I was telling their dad, I'm like, no, I don't want them to do this. And he's like, babe, we're both artists. There's no way that they're not gonna wanna, be involved. And so I've kind of let up a little bit. And even with their personalities, I'm like, okay, there's no way I cannot let them explore that. And then also I want my kids to be happy. So if they want to try it and if they like it, then they can stick with it. And if not, they want to do something else, then I'll support them in that.
I just interviewed Condola Rashad, who's a great actress on Billions in her own right. And one of the questions that I asked her is one of the questions I'll ask you. We are losing so many of our greats in terms of Sidney Poitier and Cicely Tyson, who are and you've worked with Eddie Murphy. You've worked with some real life legends. Who are some of the people who you look up to, actors and actresses, and who are some of the people who are still living that you think we need to give their flowers to while they're alive?
First of all, Sidney Poitier, I have only had the honor of being in his presence once, and I saw him walking, and he started to walk past me, and that was my first time ever being starstruck. And I froze and I didn't say anything. I just literally watched him walk by me. And it was like,
oh, you were weird. That's what you were.
I was extremely weird, and I'm okay with it. But I feel like that unlocked something. And then I went to Tyler Perry's opening for his.
I saw you there. You ain't even, it's fine. I was like, hey, Kyla. You were like,
don't do that.
Nah, we were drinking Ciroc and having a good time. I was staring at folk all types of awkwardly. I was like, that's Oprah. It was crazy.
And so you did the same thing that I did. I think seeing Sidney Poitier years ago kind of unlocked a little fangirl in me, because down there, I was like, hold on, is that Denzel? Wait a second, is that Spike? Is that Oprah? Did she?
I saw Halle Berry, and my wife grabbed my hand extra tight, and I was like, you got to let me be free. That is Halle Berry.
Yeah. She just let you. It was a little reminder to yes. What it is. No, but there's so many talented people who I think are absolutely amazing. Eddie Murphy is the first legend that I ever worked with. I worked with him at 9 years old, and I feel like I learned so much from him just watching him. And every time I run into him now, it's just still the same great man with great energy. I love.
Where do you run into Eddie Murphy?
Well, I ran into him. His daughter had an art show right before COVID happened. So I was there and ran into him right before I did all the Dr. Dolittle. When I took over the reign as the Dr. Dolittle doctor, I saw him there when I met with producers. So I don't really run into him like that. But
I was like, wait, I mean, y'all like catch us up? You just
every time I've seen him over the years, I'll say that. He still has the same energy, he's so supportive and amazing. And that's the first person that I really watched. And I was like, okay, you can have fun on set, but when it's time to work, it's time to work, you know? And he never said that to me, but that's just something that I got from him being the amazing man that he was to make the set fun for us. I love Taraji P. Henson, just amazing in every way. Angela Bassett, there's so many people that Jennifer Lewis, Lawrence Fishburne. Okay, so I did a podcast with the Tate brothers, and it's called Bronzeville years ago. And I just, I had worked with them, and I was like, you know what? Sure, like I'll come do something on the podcast. And I come in, and I'm like, wait a second, we're being directed by Lawrence Fishburne
for a podcast.
Yes. Oh, it was an amazing, because it was a story. It was like a story, like it was written. It was a it was about Chicago back in I believe the 20s. And so it was like we were playing out.
So I'm just sitting here in this hotel room in North Charleston, South Carolina, holding my mic in my hand. So I need, okay.
No, but it was an actual story. It wasn't like interviews or anything like that. So it was a completely different vibe. But
noted.
Yeah, I just Lawrence Fishburne, being in the same room with him, was just like,
oh my goodness.
Okay, I just went through all the different characters that he's ever played in my mind that I absolutely loved, and there's so many people that are just absolutely amazing that I look up to in so many ways.
That's it. I mean, and there are so many new people breaking into the industry that look up to you, and so I hope you recognize that as well. You've also done incredible cartoon and voiceover work for years. I mean, other than having an amazing voice for it, how do you get into voiceover work? How did that happen?
It's weird because I auditioned for the Proud Family, and I didn't like my voice at that time. I thought my voice was weird. I tell people I feel like I got sick in the 8th grade, and then it got raspy, and it just stayed that way. And I didn't understand. So when I auditioned, I was like, they're not gonna want me for this. I'm like, it's cool, but let me just, try out. And even after booking it, I was like, are they gonna fire me? Because I don't know if I'm, is it cool? Like what? But I love that, because I haven't always loved my voice, but that goes to show you, you might not like something about yourself, but somebody else might think it's amazing, and I realized how distinctive my voice was until Proud Family came out. And then I'm at a grocery store, and 3 aisles over, someone would come over and be like, Penny Proud's in here. And I'm like, what? And
where's she?
And then I also tell people, I'm a very loud person. It's hard for me to be quiet. So there's no let's just go somewhere and chill, because I can cover up my face and be incognito. But as soon as I say 2 words, it's a wrap.
Well, let's talk about some of your current projects. First, Call Me Kat. What is it, and who's your character?
Call Me Kat is a show that I'm filming that is on Fox every Thursday at 9/8 Central. It stars Mayim Bialik, me, Julian Gant, Cheyenne Jackson, Susie Kurtz, and Leslie Jordan. It's a show about a woman who played by Mayim Bialik, who decides that she doesn't care what society says that she needs to be happy. She's going to do what she wants to do to be happy. And for her particularly, that is opening up a cat cafe and in helping animals get adopted and just bringing joy to people's lives. And my character is Randy. I play a barista in the cafe who basically just got hired to be a barista, but then we end up becoming the best of friends, and we're complete opposites. So it's really funny to clash with Kat's character and have a lot of fun. So we're just running around. It's like your old school sitcom 4-camera comedy, and it's a show that helps you smile when all this other crazy stuff is going on in the world.
You remember Fridays when you would go and be in front of the TV for
TGIF?
TGIF. Do you remember that? I mean, those TGIF was so dope. I mean, it was, I guess 7:30, 8:30. You just had these back-to-back amazing shows that came on.
Stuff to look forward to as a kid. I'm constantly complaining, telling my kids, I'm like, look, whatever you want to watch, you can stream that at any time.
But I mean, now the TV, I mean, y'all, my anxiety be all fucked up. Like I got to watch Ozark and like and Yellowstone, and I'm like stressed out watching it. But TGIF, you were just chilling with the family. You didn't care what happened next week. You just had a good time watching it.
Yeah, you made time to watch it and you had something to look forward to next week. Like with this streaming, I'm a horrible streamer. Like it's hard for me to watch shows because I know that if I get too into it, now
What are you watching now?
Now I'm trying to catch up on Ozark.
Yeah, me too.
Yellowstone is also saved in my queue. I loved Harlem. Like
Harlem was dope. I was a little reticent because my homegirl Lee Davenport has a great show out as well, and I thought Harlem was a little close.
Which one is that?
Run the World.
I love Run the World too.
Yeah, so Lee Davenport Spellman came on the show. That was her show, and I was like, Harlem a little too close to that, and I watched it. I fell in love with it too. So shout out. There's enough space for all these shows. I was hating for no reason.
And that's the thing. There's enough space for all of us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and so I have a bunch of things saved to my queue, but I can't. I'm like,
you a mother, man. Children don't let you be free.
But they don't. But then also the only time that I have to watch certain things is late at night. So that means late at night, I'm gonna put on a show and I'm really gonna stop it before 5 a.m. That's not gonna happen. And then now I gotta get up and take kids to school and go to work and I ain't slept. Like really?
Yeah. I mean, my wife cheated on me, man. She watched all of Bridgerton, whatever that show is called.
Bridgerton.
Man, she watched it the whole night. She watched it she watched all the episodes in one night. And I was like, let me see this show. And then I saw why. I was like, that dude is fine. But anyway.
Yeah, I think my mom was watching Bridgerton and I was like, oh, I'm not. My mom is always watching some show that I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm going to be into it. And then as soon as I watch it, I'm addicted. And I finished the whole thing as well. And then my man messes me up because like we'll put something on late night to watch and he can fall asleep to anything.
Oh yeah, me too.
He can deal with sound, not me. So you put on something like Ozark at night and he going to be over there passed out. And now I'm up wide-eyed, scared. Like, oh. So then I'm like trying to change the channel and put on something I've seen a million times. Streaming is a bit of a challenge.
Let's talk about Black Ink Crew because that's different.
Yes.
And the role you play is a supporting role more so than anything else. Talk about your relationship, where you see your future on Black Ink Crew, and how you ended up there. Because most people when they think about Kyla Pratt, they don't think about Black Ink Crew.
Right. I mean, Black Ink Crew, I know that they were trying to get me involved a little bit more. And I wanted to make sure that I remained a supporting cast member because that is Compton's show. That's his show. And to me,
I love that. I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, you got to be support. You don't want to take over. Let the man have something.
And it wouldn't make any sense anyway. And it's a show about a Black man opening up a tattoo shop in a city where he's from, in a city that never allowed tattoo shops in the city, like legally before. He's the first one to do it. And it's just about him trying to, get his shop together and dealing with different energies that don't necessarily need to be there, but of course it's reality TV, so they try to keep things interesting. He's doing okay with it because he's not a talker. Like he's not one of those people that's like, oh, you want to argue? Let's argue. He don't do that arguing thing. So it's been a challenge for him, but I'm excited for him, for the world to see all that he is and all that he has and talents in so many different areas.
That's dope. You are being a supportive woman. That's amazing. Perhaps the role, of course, that people know you and your voice for is with the Proud Family. And you've got a new project this year coming out, The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder. For people that were under a rock and missed the entire Proud Family era on the Disney Channel, I don't know what two people that is, but what is it about? And I guess probably the more important question, how's the new Proud Family different from the old Proud Family?
The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder is basically just that. It is so much louder than the original, which back then, 20 years ago, if someone would have told me, 20 years from now, you guys are going to like talk about more things and be even louder, I wouldn't have understood what they were talking about. To me, the Proud Family, for anyone who has not watched it, is a show about a young girl who's just trying to navigate family life and her friends and just trying to move through life and have fun and balance it all. Of course, I feel like it's so relatable because you watch this show and you really just sit back and you feel like a part of you is being seen. whether it's you as a teenager or just being a part of a crazy family. Like we all have a sugar mama who like is crazy but has our back, or we all have an Uncle Bobby who we love but sometimes don't want to claim because he's crazy. And it's so much fun. I think that we've always been a show that never shied away from certain topics. And I feel like back then, I think the creator said, it was harder because we had to tiptoe around certain things. And nowadays, the updated version is just, we're doing the same thing. We're talking about things that people don't always want to talk about. We have situations, we have new characters, we have so many things that people might think shouldn't be there, but we need to represent and show representation in all ways for everybody.
You got me excited. Let me ask you a question. Why do you think there's so much interest now in reboots? Because we've seen them all over the place, from Full House to Sex and the City. And obviously this project you're bringing back with the popular Proud Family series. Why do we love reboots so much?
I'm not sure. I have to guess that I feel like people just want to feel that same, like the nostalgia from back in the day of watching something like new and updated. Me and reboots, I have never really been into reboots. I think sometimes I'm not even to like the number 2 of a movie because I'm afraid
sequels,
it's gonna ruin the original. And in some cases, it worked out good. And where reboots are concerned, I don't think I've watched a lot of reboots just because I don't want it to kill the old version for me. But the best thing about this reboot is that it's an animated series that still gives you the same essence of what it was in the beginning, but it has updated and upgraded itself for 2022. We talk about social media. We talk about everything that's going on right now and that needs to be talked about and addressed, and our kids need to see. So, they feel like, relatable to it. They say we write this show, we do this show for ages 6 to 86. Like, it's for everybody.
Did you have any hesitation because it was a reboot? I mean, this is what some people would argue been one of your signature roles. And did they have to like woo you a little bit more to come back and do this again?
Absolutely not. Proud Family is probably the only thing that I didn't have any reservations about. People have been coming up to me literally every day, probably since it went off the air, like talking mess, like, why is it not on? What did you do? I'm like, I am not the cause.
Why'd you do that? You took that from us.
Why are you upset with me? I can't, I'll call him, but I'll tell him, but it's, so to know that so many people were affected in such a positive way with this series and what it did for me as a child, recording it, feeling like it helped shaped me in a lot of ways. Why wouldn't I want to be a part of that, coming back and being able to do that for, newer generations and for older generations, or not, us and above, to feel like, hey, I get to go back to my childhood a little bit. Like it's I can't wait for everybody to see it. Like, I think everyone is going to be pleasantly surprised, and it's worth the wait.
How can people watch and support you, and when will it start?
The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, is going to premiere on Disney Plus February 23rd. And I believe that's right around the corner. Right around the corner. Like, literally, just go and save. I think you can save it on your queue, or get an alert, a reminder, or just think about my voice saying February 23rd. And and make sure you tune in. I think that everybody's going to love it. I watched one of the episodes and was just cheesing from ear to ear.
Let me ask you one quick question before I let you go. It's along the lines of Disney Plus, but how much have streaming services in so many alternative platforms changed the landscape of the demand for content?
I think it's changed I think it's changed so much. It's like there's so much work out there, especially for entertainers. There's not really a time where you can sit back and hear somebody say, oh, there's nothing out there for work. Like, no, there's a lot of work out there. There's a lot of ways to entertain people. I think it's helped so much in that aspect of being able to, so many different people being able to create and get their ideas out to the world. And so many people can touch so many people in so many different ways. There's so many documentaries, there's so many different comedies and drama and scary things. And I'm glad, I love the upgrade. I'm always used to the older, you know, back in the day ways of doing things, but you know, it's helped a lot, especially shows like One-on-One. I did One-on-One years ago, before streaming, before DVDs, and they released it on Netflix and everybody went crazy. And so
I know, they were like, what? I was like, I don't remember that. Watching it like it's new.
Right, but it's also, you know, introducing a new generation to work that came before them, you know. So and I'm able to watch shows that I used to love back in the day, or that my mom loved, and bond with her on that, you know. So being able to sit at home sometimes and catch up on things that I never really knew was out there, I think streaming has helped in a major way.
I think the theme of this episode is Kyla Pratt. She's getting every check in Hollywood that they got out there. I'm not mad at you.
Say it, put it out there, keep it out there.
Send the bags to the mailbox. She's getting mail. She's still getting checks from Dr. Doolittle and cashing proud checks and prouder and louder checks. I mean, I love it. How can people follow you on social media?
I am on Twitter and on Instagram at Kyla Pratt, KYLA PRATT. And I run all my own social. Just hit me. If you hit me with some BS, I'm gonna ignore you.
I was about to say, because my friends are terrible. Y'all stay out her DMs.
No, like I'm real good with that though. I have some really great people following me. So anybody who does come with any BS, they usually check them for me. And
there you go.
I only feed positive energy on my page. We're not having any BS. Anything that comes crazy, you will be ignored or blocked, because ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. We love you. We are thankful that you're still today putting out quality content that not only we can consume, but our children as well, as we grow up with Kyla Pratt. Thank you, baby. Be blessed.
Thank you so much.
All right.